They danced, and they danced, and they danced some more until some of them eventually fell over dead. What happened in France in the year 1518 that made hundreds of people start dancing in the streets for absolutely no reason whatsoever until some fell over dead? This is not true crime, obviously, but I just read this story and I had to share it with y'all. This is the story of the dancing plague of 1518. So in July of the year 1518, residents in the city of Strasbourg were struck by a sudden and what seemed like an uncontrollable urge to dance. The city was actually part of the Holy Roman Empire at the time. According to history reports, this dancing hysteria actually began when one woman, who was known as Frau Trophia, walked into the middle of the street for no reason and just began to silently dance. She started to twist and twirl and shake for days and days. In fact, it was about a week, with no breaks. Before long, it was said about 40 other people joined in with her to start dancing. By August of that year, though, like a month later, the dancing epidemic had reportedly claimed more than 400 victims. There was honestly no explanation for this phenomenon to local doctors. They ended up saying these people had hot blood, meaning like a fever. The doctors suggested that the dancers just simply keep on dancing to dance the fever away. They didn't believe there was any other treatment. A stage was even constructed for the dancers, and professional dancers were said to be brought into the city. The town even eventually hired a band to provide the music for the dancers. However, it was not long before the dancing marathon started to take its toll on the dancers. I mean, as you can imagine, they were dancing nonstop. That's because many of the dancers started to collapse because of sheer exhaustion. Some ended up dying from heart attacks and strokes even. The strange and constant dancing went on until September of that year, so for 2 full months. That's when dancers were reportedly taken to a mountaintop shrine, and that was to pray that the dancing stop and that they get better. The dancing plague may seem like a legend or just a made-up story, but it is actually well documented in historical records from the 16th century. According to reports, this is not the only known incident like this, as similar manias also occurred in Switzerland, Germany, and Holland, but none of those were as large or deadly as the dancing plague of 1518. What could have led these people to dancing themselves to death? Now, according to one historian named John Waller, the explanation most likely is associated with Saint Vitus, who was a Catholic saint that religious Europeans during that time believed had the power to actually curse people with this dancing plague. There were also many diseases and famine in the streets of Strasbourg in 1518. People believe that between that and that St. Vitus superstition, it could have triggered a stress-induced mass hysteria that affected much of that city. Other theories over the years have suggested that maybe these dancers were part of religious cults. Others have suggested that they might have ingested a toxic mold that grows on damp rye. It was said this mold produces both bodily spasms and hallucinations. How crazy is this story? Had you ever heard of it? Do you like stories like this? Historical mysteries and whatnot? Let me know if you'd like to see more content like this in the comments. And for more, be sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube.